Wednesday, March 18th, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. I'm your host for today, Jace Cooper, alongside my producer, Mike Bennett.
What's up, Jay? Behind
the boards, keeping things running as always. Got a great show for you today. Before we get into things, though, World Baseball Classic. What a fun event that was. It's now finished. USA lost.
Thank you.
All of a sudden, the Americans, they don't care anymore. They were like the biggest baseball fans before they lost to Italy. After they lost to Italy, they said it was a glorified exhibition. Then they were like, hey, Italy beat Mexico. We're still in this? Okay, no, it's back on. We're back in. They beat the Dominicans. This is our sport. I love this. Then they lose to the Venezuelans. I don't care anymore. Spring training. Doesn't matter. All right, it's up to you guys. Up to you guys.
And they probably just went and clicked a bunch of Dodgers World Series.
Funny how that works out. Anyways, excited to get into the show for you today. Got a lot coming on. A lot of people coming on. Great new graphics. Shout out to Mike for working that one out. It looks really good. Good stuff there, Mike. Batting leadoff, Mr. Peanut Bettor. We're going to talk some NBA stuff. We're going to get a little update on this Cavs future that he allegedly stole from Kirk Evans. We're going to get into the bottom of that. How he's feeling with Jason Tatum coming back in the fold. How he looks. We're going to rattle off some West teams. See who's dangerous in the West. Obviously, we know the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be pretty dangerous, but there's 7 other teams that make the playoffs. Someone's going to have to win some games. So outside of OKC, we're going to see who's dangerous in the West. And then Geoff comes on. We got golf. We got Chargers radio. I said, Geoff, what do you want to talk about today? He's like, I'm not feeling good about this golf week. What the fuck are the Chargers doing? How have they not signed any players yet? $70 million in cap space. Can't wait to get into that with him. Then finally, we close out the show with Austin. We're going to talk first 4, reaction to the two games. First 2 of the first 4 last night. Close out the last 2 tonight. We're going to talk about how Texas matched up against BYU. I'll have a couple questions about these 1 seeds. And then just more general bracket filling strategies is what we're going to talk about here today. Appreciate you guys joining the show for today. Do us a favor. Smash the like button if you haven't already. It goes a long way here on the channel. If you're new to the channel as well, hit the subscribe button. And if you're listening a little bit after the fact, podcast forums, wherever it may be, do us a favor. Rate and review 5 stars. I know the guy behind the camera right there, Mike.
Which one?
Oh, there's 2. I forgot there's 2. Mr. Peanut Bettor has rated and reviewed 5 stars multiple times. He's made burner accounts to do so. So, Mike, appreciate you. Yeah, excited to get into things for today. This is like the calm before the storm. We got 2 first 4 games tonight. Then tomorrow, noon Eastern time, I guess 12:10 maybe, is when things really kick off. I wonder how we're going to do this. You think we're going to set up a TV in here?
Yeah, we can.
All right, we're probably going to do that. We're going to do like a mini watch along for the first game of March Madness.
We'll just do Hammer Daily from the setup out there on the couch with a bunch of the screens.
We could do that as well. That could be fun. That could be really, really fun. TCU, Ohio State, 12:15, and then Troy, Nebraska starts at 12:40.
The question is, I wonder if these games are going to start on time.
Oh, they always do. They always do. Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into today's show. Got a great guest for us today. He took 2 weeks off. He looks refreshed. He's in a new place. Maybe he moved. I don't know what his deal is. No more floor lamp on the floor, on the desk.
On the desk, yeah.
On the desk. New lampshade. No new lampshade. Anyways, let's bring him on air. Mr. Peanut Bettor. You know him. You love him. How's it going? You look refreshed.
Yeah, you're mixing me up with someone else. I don't put
Kirk,
the floor lamp onto the desk. I, put lamps where they go.
He had the busted lampshade.
That's what it was. It's like something to do with like the interior design at this company or the people who come on the show. It's just not there. But hey, the office that you're in right now looks really great. Looks good. Yeah, I mixed you up with Kirk Evans. Sorry about that. I think it's because, you kind of like yoinked one of Kirk Evans' futures. Speaking of yoinking futures, Cleveland Cavaliers. That's your team, right? Talk to me a little bit about the Cavs. Are you nervous about them at all? And I want like a check-in on Jason Tatum since he's been back for, 2 weeks now?
Yeah, it's disgusting Kirk would give out that Cavs future and promote it so shamelessly here. I think that I always kept telling him, hey, why don't we wait till Jason Tatum gets back? We might be able to get a better price. He said, no, just go ahead, barge in. So I think that's all on Kirk. We'll have to blame him there. But in seriousness, I don't think – does it affect the Cavs' chances? Sure, of course it does. I think Boston probably moves to the favorite in the East based on Tatum coming back. For Cleveland, I would be more concerned on them. They just keep missing guys, and Strus just came back. It seems like Merrill just came back. They're about to get to full strength here, but we still haven't seen it yet. For Cleveland, I think getting guys back on their end is more important than what Boston's doing. It's looking like Boston's going to be on the other side of the bracket. What's the probability that they face each other? What's the probability that Tatum's different? That, to me, is a less of a concern than when you're just talking about Cleveland, Jared Allen now being out. They just haven't had their full team lately over the past 2 weeks. You expected them to get healthy, and they just haven't yet. I think that's a much bigger concern than what Tatum's doing.
All right, much bigger concern for Tatum than Tatum is the health and the wealth of this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Are you concerned at all about like the Knicks or the Pistons at all? When we talk about Cavs, it always feels like Cavs versus Celtics. Like that's the penultimate end of the NBA Eastern Conference. But Knicks, Pistons, they're still sticking around here. Are you worried about those two teams at all, or is this just more of a question for Kirk?
I think that those teams. Last year I wasn't worried about the Pacers at all. So. Obviously, things can pop up. Teams can catch lightning in a bottle randomly, but I just don't think that those teams have the ceiling of what Cleveland and Boston do, where if Cleveland and Boston are playing to their capabilities, they just have more guys who can, make buckets during postseason where it becomes a little bit more about self-creation. Cleveland and Boston has those guys. I don't think Detroit has them outside of Cade Cunningham. And New York, they've kind of been all over the place this year, with some up and down performances. They've had Jalen Brunson's played well in the playoffs. I just don't think Cat is quite the guy that he used to be. And, I don't really trust the Wings either. So I don't think that those two teams, I'm scared of New York a little bit more than I am of Detroit, but I don't think either of those teams, if Cleveland and Boston are playing to their potential, I just don't think that they have the top end gear that those two teams have.
All right, let's flip over and talk. You wanted to talk some Western Conference teams. You wanted to talk about like the playoff race. Who might be frisky in the West? Obviously, we know what the Oklahoma City Thunder are, what they're like. They're, again, one of the best teams in all of basketball, plus 125 for them to win the championship. But I want to take a look down and sort of look down the board at the play-ins and these lower-end teams who might be, it's March. We might see some upsets here in the NBA playoffs. And obviously the playoffs aren't locked in 100% yet. But let's assume as if from the Grizzlies onwards, those teams are most likely not making the play-ins. Trailblazers and Warriors, talk to me about these two teams. If they're a little bit frisky, if they ended up making the playoffs, do they have a chance to upset one of these higher seed teams?
Sure. At this point in the season, I think it's helpful to look at these teams as what's their probability of winning a first round series here, or what's their rating. If you were to think of like an old school power ratings, necessarily that's not what you're going to use, but just look at them, think of them in terms of how good they actually are in absolute, because to look at the futures pricing right now, it's going to change a lot as seeding changes. So you want to look at you have to ask yourself, what are the best teams and kind of go from there. And you have to work backwards almost and see, who has a better path. Instead of looking at the odds as they are now, hopefully you can find spots where, okay, now this team's path has gotten lighter. Odds are lagging a little bit. The futures odds don't necessarily kind of update based on seeding super efficiently. So you want to kind of just have a good sense of who's the best teams, who are the worst teams, and kind of who's going to have what path to the finals. So to answer your first question, starting off in the playing game, I think right now it's going to be somewhat, obviously it feeds into whoever wins is going to be, by definition, is going to get a boost because they have won those first round matchups. But if you're a team, say you're the Thunder, the Spurs starting off here, and you have these play-in matchups, the number one team that you want to face to me is the Portland Trailblazers. They don't have anyone, Denny Avdia has come back from this back. He's been a little bit up and down, hasn't quite looked himself coming back from it. They don't have the high-end talent that some of these other play-in teams have where they've struggled all year. I think that they're kind of, a tier below the rest of the play-in teams.
Yeah. All right. So these two teams tier below the rest of the play-in teams. Let's talk Clippers then, who've kind of been on like a crazy surge since like January. They've won a ton of games with Kawhi back. Are they a frisky team? Looking at the odds boards right now, they're 150-1 to win the West. Obviously, that will probably come down depending on who they play, or move up depending on who they play in the first round. Talk us through the Clippers here.
Yeah, so first, I would like to say I think that Golden State, if they get Steph back, they haven't had Steph in quite some time. If they do get Steph back, I still think that they're more of a threat than the two teams ahead of them, the Clippers and the Suns. The Suns, to me, are I don't want to break it down as simple as One team has Steph Curry, one has Kawhi Leonard, and the Suns have Devin Booker, who's a tier below. I know that it's not quite that simplistic, but there's just a higher end tier with Golden State and with LA that you don't quite get with Phoenix. Phoenix has a lower floor for sure, but if you're talking the ability to upset like San Antonio and OKC, you really need to have everything the stars aligned right. So if I was one of those teams, I would be a little bit more interested in playing Phoenix than I would Golden State or the Clippers. I think the Clippers and Golden State are pretty similar in the fact that they're old teams. They aren't built for 82. They're more built for 16, but they just don't quite have what they need. Maybe if they just had a little bit more juice, if LA kept Harden, they could be a little bit more of a threat. If Garland for some reason was the old version of himself, they could be more of a threat. These guys, I think that whenever you have Steph, you have Kawhi, you can win a game or two. You can extend the series, maybe make that team work a little bit harder, but they're not really quite enough of a threat to push OKC and San Antonio. I do think that they are a little bit more of a threat, though, than the other teams in the play-in.
Obviously, we're doing a little bit digging here. And like you mentioned there, Phoenix Suns definitely below the Warriors and Clippers. Phoenix Suns 300-1 versus Clippers, 150-1 Warriors, 200-1. Neither of these teams, odds are saying that they don't really have a chance. But if you were to match these teams up against the Spurs and the Thunder here, who would give both the Spurs and the Thunder their toughest matchup between the Clippers and the Warriors?
When you're talking like what Victor can do as far as shutting off the rim and totally making that a non-factor, I think that Steph and the Warriors' kind of ability to spray it around the perimeter and do those things. Draymond obviously can play on the perimeter. He does such a good job with screens and setting Steph up, even if he's not necessarily a traditional threat as a shooter. I think that Golden State's probably the toughest matchup for San Antonio. Clippers also, though, do have Brook Lopez, who's a pretty good spacing threat that will help keep Victor Wembanyama from the rim. Obviously, he's going to basically be the determining factor in that Spurs series. And I don't think that it really matters for either of them in the Thunder. The Thunder are too athletic, too nasty, and just I don't see that either of those teams have the athleticism to keep up with them. Yeah,
the only path for victory against any team against the Thunder, it feels like, is a knock on wood, injury. Hopefully no one gets injured there for the Thunder, as I've been, loading up on them all season long. All right, this is where the fun part starts, because we know about the Spurs, we know about the Thunder, we know how good they are. It's tough for the Suns, Clippers, Warriors, Trailblazers to win a playoff series, let alone one or two games. But now this gets fun because we've got the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, the Rockets, and the Lakers all kind of clustered together here. Let's start with the Timberwolves. Who would their most likely matchup be, and who would, if you were the Timberwolves, if you could pick who to play, who would you like to play?
So I think the Timberwolves are, other than, did you include Denver in this group? Sorry.
Yes.
I think that Timberwolves, other than Denver, are the biggest threat of these teams. To me, what they have shown in the playoffs already, they've gotten to the Western Conference Finals last year. Ant seems to be able to ramp it up defensively in the playoffs. And then when you have Ant ramping it up, you have Jaden McDaniels, Ant on the wings just really causing terror. And then you have Gobert in the middle. Defensively, they have a ceiling that they can reach that can kind of give teams trouble, both on the perimeter and inside with Gobert. So to me, they're the second best group of this team. If I were them, I would be trying to face, any type of version of Houston. I think Houston is the worst of this group. Houston, since Steven Adams has gone down, has looked significantly worse. He added them kind of a wrinkle that was tough to prepare for in the playoffs, where they could do that big man zone and kind of just smash you on the boards and let the game get physical when they run that weird zone half the time. And it's like they just cause more randomness when they had Steven Adams. Now they're just more of a traditional team that's not particularly frightening to me, just based on they don't have a ton of great ball movement. They don't have somebody setting guys up as a traditional point guard with Fred VanVleet. If he comes back, I don't think Fred's going to be the same guy that he was, at least, right away as he comes back. So to me, Houston's by far the worst of that group, with LA kind of serving as a second team there in between those two, and then Denver being the top team there.
All right. I feel like we talked about this last week with Drew Dinsick here, Lakers and Rockets. You mentioned the Rockets as kind of like the weakest team of this cluster. There's a path, very unlikely, but like a small path for the Lakers and Rockets to play each other. How much chaos would that cause if Denver and Minnesota were to play each other in the first round, and then the Lakers and the Rockets in terms of like futures odds?
So to me, it all depends on what side of the bracket they get on. So if you are one of these teams and you want a a realistic shot at getting to the conference finals. The goal is to get to the conference finals, face OKC there, not have to worry about them there till then. If you're able to get in that 3-6 matchup where you have, you have home court in the 3 spot, then you're going to face San Antonio. San Antonio's a young team, historically have underperformed compared to expectations or compared to a regular season record in the playoffs. Then I think once you have, for the Lakers, Luka, LeBron, and Reeves, they haven't been healthy all year. They haven't necessarily played that well if you look at net rating all year, but there is kind of an expectation that those guys would be able to raise their play during the playoffs compared to what a standard team would. So I think if you get a situation where you have the Lakers and the Rockets on the 3-6 side where they're going to face San Antonio most likely in the second round, then you start to get into an interesting question because you have, a bunch of perimeter scores versus Victor. Maybe Victor is less effective slowing them down compared to a traditional team in that sense. So if they get that 3-6 matchup, then I think that's where you can start to look at, do those teams, despite their quality of play, have a chance? If those two get into the 4-5 and then they are facing, and OKC is able to face the 8 seed and then is able to face the winner of LA versus Houston, to me, that's like the dream scenario for OKC. OKC is going to, with their kind of physicality, how good they are at perimeter defense, it's really, to me, going to be hard for either of those teams to have a chance. If you're OKC, you don't want to face Denver where it's like, okay, Jokic is there. They took us to 7 last year. It's pretty difficult. If you get a situation where those two are in the 4-5 and OKC is able to kind of, walk into the conference finals, I think that's a big edge.
Yeah, no, it screams that's if we can get the 4-5 Lakers, Rockets, whoever ends up 4, whoever ends up 5 between the Lakers and the Rockets, it's like load up on the Thunder immediately. It sounds like. Have you for like a couple more minutes here. You mentioned to me you're doing a Calcutta. Can you share what that's for? Is it NBA? Is it March Madness? And do you want me to do it for you? Because I have a Calcutta with my friends and I have pretty good ROI there.
Yeah, go ahead. You give me the explanation of what a Calcutta is.
I know what a Calcutta is. I'm just curious what sport it's for.
It's college basketball. So I'm not an NCAA basketball guy in the slightest. I literally have watched about 0 minutes this year. So couldn't tell you anything as far as players, things like that. But Calcuttas are, you want to kind of get in a sweat. You think you can do it in an untraditional way that's a little bit more a little bit less team dependent. It's not like I have to go team versus team ratings here. So yeah, it's a way to basically do an NCAA tournament pool that's more exciting than your standard pick the bracket. Everybody kind of has that solved on how you should do it. So this is a little bit, more of a different strategy if you want to explain it. Yeah,
no, I'll explain it for the people. Calcutta is just simply, I don't know how you guys do it, but we bucket our teams and we bucket the teams into 4 teams because there's only 5 of us in the Calcutta. There's 4 teams in a bucket, and you draft the bucket of teams, and you get a certain you auction draft, and you draft these teams, and the total money in the pool at the end, you get a certain percentage based on I don't know how many rounds they've won, some props that are in there. There's one that's the biggest loss, that's worth 4% of the pool, things of that nature. The props are usually there to add value to these lesser teams that aren't going to go the whole way. Do you guys also bucket 4 teams, or are you drafting all 64?
So you're bucketing the 13 seeds by seed. So go 13 seed, 14 seed, 15 seed, 16 are all separate buckets, and then the rest it's by team.
Wow. All right. That's a long Calcutta. All the best to you in that. You let me know who you end up with. I'll send you mine, and I'll let you know what you let me know what you think for.
Send me your raw calcs. I actually want to get into
you want
math behind yours.
All right. Yeah, I'll send you my raw calcs. Give me 5 minutes, and then you can. Actually, I'll just send it to you after the show, and you tweet out a review of it, or maybe you give us a review on Circle Back on Friday.
I won't be on Circle Back Friday.
What the heck? I texted Jacob, made sure that it was all good. And
no, I'm in contract. I'm on a contract holdout right now until we get the chopping block back for Zilbert. So
oh my God! All right,
that's my demand.
Is he your agent? Is that why it's like he's advising you to do this?
Well, I see a fellow content creator. He's down. There's been no retraction by Jacob from the just defamatory claims made against him. So until there's either a retraction or we get back the chopping block as favorite segment, then I'm not going to, I'm still in holdouts.
All right. I appreciate that. I appreciate you not holding out on this show. It means a lot to us here on the Hammer Daily. Mr. Peanut Bettor, appreciate you joining the show. All the best. Hope you have a great day.
Go Thunder.
Go Thunder.
And hopefully Cavs, you can get Cavs at a good price now. You didn't listen to, crap Kirk Evans give off those bad futures.
Okay, yeah, we waited for a better price. We obviously fade you guys. Wait, before you head out, next week you coming on for some UFL stuff?
Yeah, we'll do some UFL. Season starts up here.
Next week?
It will be, next week. So we'll get in there.
All right, awesome stuff. Appreciate you. Talk soon.
See you, Jason.
Great stuff from Peanut Bettor. As always, it's like Peanut Bettor, Peanut Butter, a Mike. Like I never know what to call him nowadays. It's crazy. It's crazy. Got Geoff coming on in just a second here. Before we do that, before we bring on our good friend Geoff Fienberg, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at FanDuel. The tournament is here. And on FanDuel, it's time to dance. Right now, FanDuel is dropping bonus bets into everyone's accounts for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in to claim your bonus. Use them on your bracket picks, money lines, spreads, totals, game props, or even same game parlays. You got an upset, rolling with a 1 seed, calling for some chaos. However you're playing the tournament, FanDuel is giving you a little extra to get in on the action from the very first tip. But don't wait. These bonus bets are only available for a limited time. So open the FanDuel app now and see what's waiting for you. FanDuel, it's time to dance. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas and affiliation Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus of $500 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/Chattanooga, Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-227-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 1-877-770-7867 in Louisiana. All right.
That was probably the slowest ad read, but you did good today. You did good.
Well, I'm trying to take it a little slower. Derek in the chat, is this an official release here? He's saying all the 2 seeds to make the Sweet 16 at plus 230. You know what? I'm going to star that one. And we're going to circle back, no pun intended, to that when we got Austin Mock on to talk March Madness. Unless you want Geoff Fienberg's opinion, which you totally can get. All right. Let's bring him on next. He's a golf super sharp is what he's getting after winning 2 of 3 weeks. He's one of the best in the business. Geoff Fienberg. Appreciate you joining the show. How's it going, my friend?
Hey.
You looking good. I see this, the king hat, because you are a golf king.
That's a nice hat, though.
It's Arnold Palmer, the king. Arnold Palmer.
I can't. Okay, you got to give me a break there. I can't read all that.
Yeah, no, I get it. Hard to see, but no, I'm not the king.
You kind of are, though. You kind of are. Lots to talk about today. I want you to lead off, though. World Baseball Classic. You have any opinions on that? Like, I know you're not really you're a baseball guy, but you're not like the biggest baseball guy. You're more of a Blue Jays guy than a baseball guy, I would say. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. World Baseball Classic. Give it to me.
I think that was pretty embarrassing from the Americans.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. They also kind of blew their load with the Dominican Republic game. Did not manage their bullpen well. Like, Mason Miller's a dog.
Blew their load. They scored 2 runs. They just hit home runs. I don't think they put like hits together at all. I don't understand. Whatever. Like, it's not the biggest deal. Spring training entertainment. I don't think it's unfair for Americans to be like, that was fun. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually care. Like, it's not important enough that you're going to wake up today angry.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I feel like after the Dominican game, they started to care a lot more. So it's like, okay, like we yeah,
they want to win. They obviously want to win, but it's like, I'm not saying they don't care, but
they're acting like they don't care.
Fans are like, I wouldn't trade my team winning a World Series for that. Like, obviously not. Like, of course, that's the take. That's the proper take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's it.
If they want, I just don't think it's a spring training tournament.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Is there a way
to we're embarrassed, I think, by how little they actually hit.
I think the most embarrassed people are the Yankees and Aaron Judge fan, because again, time and time again, he just cannot show up. But
Mark DeRosa was just getting ready for game 2. That's all.
I mean, tough look for Judge.
Yeah. Anyways,
And I don't give a shit about the Yankees, so whatever.
I had a little fun watching our good friend.
I wish I'd bet. I was a square though, like because I'd bet them to beat the Dominican, and then at post yesterday I got like 218, and I bet them. But I had some really smart people telling me to bet Venezuela. But that's why I'm a sophisticated square, because I had the information, and I knew the USA. I even said this. America line seems like short. And I bet it anyway. So, square.
That's all right. You might be square with the World Baseball Classic. It might be a little bit of a leak here with baseball.
No, I had a good World Baseball Classic,
yeah,
but I let it get away from me yesterday.
Right at the end. It's okay because you
not let it get away, but yeah, I had a losing.
You had a losing. Hey, you lose a couple bets here and there. That's all right. Especially if you're betting on outright futures for golf, you're going to lose a couple bets. But Geoff, it feels like you might be able to build a new basement. Maybe get some that kitchen or bathroom renovation done after you've had these last 3 weeks of winning weeks, we'll call it. Victory lap. Go. Floor is yours.
Two winners in the last 3 weeks. I told you a month ago that the Florida swing is my favorite time of the year. We got one more Florida event left. I'm not going to victory lap. In 2 months, I'll still be sitting here with those two winners.
All right. I disagree.
I'm happy Cam Young won.
Okay.
I'm sad Ludwig lost. We also had Matthew Fitzpatrick, so we had the nuts. I really just wanted Ludwig or Cam to win. Not that I wouldn't have been happy or made a ton of money if Fitz won, but I have to answer a lot of questions for like why Cam or Ludwig don't win. So at least we can end it with Cam. And we've got Cam bets. I did a preview show at Christmas. Everyone could have their their deep thoughted, methodical takes. I just said like Cam Young, every major. All right. Every major. So I'm already sitting on, we hit the first of 5 Cam Young futures, last week. I don't think it'll be the last one.
Okay. All right. Little teaser for maybe the Masters. Maybe
coming soon.
Yeah, you guys are gonna want to stick around for that. I don't know if are we allowed to reveal this yet or no?
No, I don't know.
Okay, we'll save it. That's called the teaser. All right, let's talk VALSPAR Championship because again,
it's happening.
Okay. I don't listen. I don't want to like break.
Yeah,
the
but just because you're like a little battery and Pizzolla's cog doesn't know about it, that doesn't mean it's not happening.
Fuck does that mean? What the hell?
It means you're like a battery.
Okay.
You got a daily show. You make the operation work, but that doesn't mean you're like privy to every piece of information.
Okay, neither is I'm not asking to be privy. I'm just saying if you want to talk about it, you got to let me know before we talk about it in front of the audience. You got to get the okay from upstairs as well too, Like I can't just like reveal this stuff. Anyways, you're trying to get me in trouble. I see what you're doing here.
No, listen,
you always
have fun. I might be sitting in your chair for a lot of hours, early in Masters Week talking to potpourri of different people.
My favorite word from you, Geoff. All right, let's get in the VALSPAR Championship. Tell me about this course. Tell me how it plays. Talk me through this one. What type of golfer fits this course?
So we've seen different player profile types bring this one home, Jay, but you got to be pretty accurate. It's the end of the Florida swing. We've seen now 3 straight events in Florida, right? Guys with multiple stroke leads on the back 9. They don't end up being the winner. That's why I told you a while ago, forgetting that I was going to win bets. That's why I told you there's no better run of golf in the whole calendar than the Florida swing. And the new commissioner, I love him. I love what he's about. I love I don't want to say promises, but I love the commitments he wants to make. Do not mess with this run of events, a Florida swing. Don't do it. We even actually get Florida again later in the year, first time in forever. They had to jerk off the president. So we'll be at Trump Doral for a while, Blue Monster, but that's coming later. But listen, vicious, rough. You got to be accurate. But we have seen guys pretty much get around here, either just being unconscious with the pin stalking, like Victor Hovland last year. It felt like he did not miss a green, or just you run the hottest putter. And we saw guys like Sam Burns do that before. So that's pretty much it. Like it's going to be between like a ball strikers versus the guys with the hottest putters. And that's what we got to chase. Unfortunately, sometimes I don't like to bet on great putters, and I like to bet on the ball strikers, hoping to get home. But we got the snake pit here, a very difficult finishing stretch. Shout out to our boy Tony in New Jersey. He sent me a picture. He was down there a week ago, pretty much almost nearly tournament conditions, put it to about a foot in the snake pit there. But just a very difficult, accuracy required. You got to drive it in the fairway. You got to play clean golf. You got to play clean golf around Copperhead.
All right, toss away the really excellent putters, especially if they're not American, because we know these American crowds will try and get in their head. Who are the ball strikers you like to win outright?
So this week, Jay, I gave him the prop shout out last week. What a just disastrous Sunday. I have bet on Corey Connors.
I feel bad because I texted you. I'm like, was he like 6 under on the second day? And he was like incredible. I'm like, have a day, Corey Connors. And then I feel like I jinxed him on that one.
Listen, I don't think he had anything to do with it. But yes, he shot like 29 on the front 9 and then you texted me and then he played his back 9 over par.
It just had nothing to do with me.
That's what you're talking about. Yeah. But I don't think it had anything to do with it. And then on Sunday, he was just totally, I don't know, very unlike Corey Connors. But I think we're getting a rebound here. And I got to admit, I'm a bit of a sucker, Jay, because I bet Corey Connors 33-1 to win this tournament. And over at some of those sports books that have the without market, I just thought the number was fair. I took some Corey Connors without like the top 4 guys in the field at 28-1 as well. And I think that's still available at 27-1.
Yeah.
And, some people say that's the dumbest bet you can make, but I don't know. The math looked like it mathed for me on that. So we're in on Corey Connors. He's actually not the only Canadian I've bet this week. We're also on Taylor Pendrith. A lot of people love Taylor Pendrith coming into last week. He barely made the cut, I want to say, sort of flirted at the bottom. But we're still in Florida. It's accuracy, shot making. I still like Taylor Pendrith 50-1. So I'm riding 2 Canadians this week. And I actually had a third Canadian, Shooter Shan Yaromalaju, but he withdrew. I don't know if you saw that kid busting up the board last week, Jay.
Yeah, no, he was incredible.
Young Canadian kid.
The story is really good too.
He learned to golf. His dad worked beside a golf course, had no idea like what golf was in India. And that sparked him. So he got his kid play, and then they immigrated to Canada. And Shooter Shan just would watch golf and memorize, what happened, like the swing. He met, like how I used to, that girl and that pretty girl at summer camp rocking that bikini before the internet. You had to put it here, Jay. You had to put it here. You didn't have like you're the expert on this network.
Of what? Of what? Of YouTube?
So I heard you are.
Of what?
And all those, things that you get for free today, they didn't exist. They didn't exist back in the day. So that was what I was doing. He was just memorizing golf swing. And I heard about him finding YouTube. And then when you could actually like watch and rewind golf swings, oh baby. So I'm excited about that kid. We got really off track here.
It's all good.
JJ Spawn, though, U.S. Open champion. He's had a rough run of events this year, Jay. I've bet him 36-1.
So you got Spawn, Connors, Pendrith, all outrights here. Any top 10s you like? Any you don't like?
Left off a other couple outrights because those numbers got like crushed.
That's all good.
We're on Hitsetsune and we're on Smotherman. My long shot is Rasmus Niergaard Pedersen. That's like 115, 120-1. I've been on enough with you now, Jay. I think I'm a bit of like a slut for that guy. I think one day he'll bring something home for me. In terms of the placing bets, Jacob Bridgman, he if I had to make like a bet near the real top of this board, it would absolutely be on Jacob Bridgman. He hasn't finished worse than T17, I want to say, this entire season. I've just been so impressed with him. His accuracy, the ball striking, maybe the best putter in this field. If I fear someone, it's Jacob Bridgman. So we're going to be playing him in some props. JJ Spawn heavy on props, plus 20, top 20, plus 105. And I got like in some insane long shots. Dan Brown, top 20. That's like probably over 20 to, a top 5. It's like over 20 to 1.
22 to 1.
European here. What can you get me on a top 20 on Dan Brown?
Top 20 or top 5?
Top 20.
Oh, top 20. Give me a sec here. Dan Brown. Plus 430.
Yeah, so we're doing that, but we're like doing a lot of Dan Brown on the ladder this week.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have the greatest vibes at Copperhead. I didn't say that last week. I said it 2 weeks ago.
Okay. I'm pretty sure.
Last week we were feeling good. We had great futures. I know you're telling me I say that every week. That's not true.
Okay. All right. Feels like you do say it every week. Chat was actually asking about Bridgman, but you already answered that.
Oh, yeah. Bridgman is a beast.
22 to 1
I'll
is
be
what
using
Derek's looking
Bridgman
for.
in some one and dones. And you can listen, it's like generic golf talk, but guys like Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, Brooks Koepka, they're really live this week. Like for not like a high-end event, I think we could get something really fun at the finish.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously hope to get a winner, but man, there'll be like some flashback feelings if we're seeing like Brooks and Spieth up there again. I know people are crushing their Masters bets for them. I'm not there. We'll leave it at that, but
all right.
I can see them having lovely weeks.
Chad also mentioning Marco Penge, 100 to 1 here.
Oh, I talked up Marco a lot on my Monday show, and I didn't bet him. So what are they saying? Good things?
Just drop it in the chat, 100 to 1. And then also,
listen, this is what I love about a guy like Marco Penge, and wish I had more like DP World Tour vibes on my card this week, Jay, because Innisbrook, the Copperhead, I guess it's called like 100 different things. But this week, Jay, it's the European Tour plays a course like this like far more than the PGA Tour. So I'm all over some lot of like no name Europeans to be flirting on the first and second page this week.
All right.
I wouldn't say Penge is no name. He's actually a rising star. But like as an example, you could bet you can get Marco Penge at a higher number this week than his odds to win the Masters. Yeah, and like, what does he have a better chance of winning?
Yeah, probably this week than a field with Scotty and Rory and the big guns.
Yeah. So a lot of fun.
Also, shout out the chat, Toronto 6 God, giving us a first round leader. Bizadenhout?
Christian Bizadenhout. Yeah, South Africa.
There you go.
He can put the lights out. You do you troll me every week with this?
No,
your goal to get me to bet first round leaders.
If you
I know it's very popular. I'm sorry. My brain thinks about Sunday heroes, not Thursday warriors. I feel like that's all right. It's another market that I'll just like lose. I'll lose money in. Why?
If you wanted to punt, I was just giving you the option.
I don't need a Thursday sweat.
Okay.
People need that.
Okay.
I don't need it.
Well, Thursday sweat, Sunday heroes. You got me thinking a lot about.
Don't get me wrong, like I should, because a lot of my guys are like losers who will pop on a Thursday and gas can a Sunday. But whatever.
It is.
My brain doesn't work that way.
That's okay. That's okay. I wanted to transition from Thursday heroes, Thursday sweats, Sunday heroes. You got me thinking football with that stuff. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the Chargers, quickly. $70 million in cap space. Froze. He froze. What are we doing? What are we doing in free agency? Nothing.
I'm phased, but I see. Maybe your Austin can talk me off a ledge coming in next. I don't know what I should be thinking, because when I wanted to be super excited and I would tell you guys like in November that the Chargers are winning the Super Bowl next year, it was about getting those tackles back and using the $100 million in cap room. They're getting the tackles back, so that'll be a huge upgrade. But what have they done? They signed an athletic tight end. They are like a blocking tight end. They signed an athletic fullback. Like, okay, Harbaugh, check. Cole Strange, Penning. Like, I needed a guard. They're not willing to spend $10, $12 million on a guard. What is going on? And I don't think it's the ownership being cheap because they've spent big before and they're not cheap. That perception, I don't believe it. I see it every year. But this new GM, I shouldn't say new, it's year 3. You know, the first year get the feet wet. Last year we're 100 million over. This year we're 100 million under. I was excited for something. But you know, he's obsessed with his comp pick formula. Like, okay, so we're gonna get a 4th rounder next year. I don't get me wrong, I love the picks, but Justin Herbert's gonna be 27. Like, to me, this is a window to be maybe a bit aggressive. They're not. Now, that being said, the other side of me, where I try not to panic, is last time we had 100 million in cap room, we spent like drunken sailors, and everyone sucked. J.C. Jackson, dog dick. Sebastian Joseph Day, I hate him. Like, he stole from the Chargers as far as I'm concerned. We're the dumb enough to pay these guys, but we spent and everything backfired. So part of me appreciates this methodical approach, but I don't understand. Like, I thought year 3 Harbaugh, Ortiz, like, it's go time, and we are still like, I don't know how to put this. Like, it's a horse race, and we're still like in a bit of a stalking position. And I don't know. I wanted to be happier in free agency, and I'm not. And they can't solve all this in the draft. They can get a guard. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, that's Chargers radio. Talk me off a ledge, Austin.
Listen, let's bring Austin on here. I wanted to bring Austin on because he's going to be on Forward Progress later today talking about NFL. I believe they're doing AFC win totals. Going to talk about that. So I mean, it's pretty.
I know there's a move up the sleeve. Like, I know these guys. Like, they're holding on for something.
Let's bring up Austin here. Let's bring up Mike. Let's bring up Austin here, and let's get him to talk Geoff off the ledge here.
The moves they've made haven't been bad, but if they weren't going to go with something big, Austin, I needed more volume. Like, it's been a nice handful of moves. There could be another half a handful of moves. Like, there should have been more volume, and I don't have a complaint about any move, but there hasn't been volume for me.
All right, Austin's on screen right now. Austin, welcome to the show. Didn't give you a fancy intro because Geoff demanded that you walked him off the ledge. He's like, before we started this segment, he texted me saying, I need to be walked off the ledge. So
you
Austin,
can even hang up on me. Like, I can be like, and then you can answer. Like, you can hang up on me, Jay. I'll just listen.
No, you're good. You're good. Austin, give Geoff a little bit of help here.
Yeah, so I try not to get like too warped up in like the free agency winners because I think a lot of the moves are overrated in a way. In terms of they do need a guard and they probably need some depth, which I guess they got depth in the free agency, but it is a decently deep interior offensive line class. Like, I think there's a lot of guys in round 2 and 3 that people are going to like. So I think that's something they'll target.
Those are going to be day-one starters because they need starting guards.
Right, but like the reason why they're not like they can be day 1 starters in round 3 and stuff. Like, you don't want to reach now. Vega Ioane, who's going to be a first rounder, I think if he falls to the Chargers, Harbaugh is going to like sprint to the podium to get that pick put in. But whether he's there or not, I don't think it's that bad. Like, I was bullish on him too. The tackle's back. Like, I don't think people understand how good the offense was when Joe Alt was on the field this year. So they upgraded offensive coordinator. They get both tackles back. Can this be an elite offense? I don't know. We'll see. But it's a good developing coaching staff.
Are they better?
So it's all
they
relative,
lost OA.
right?
Like, they held the line, but are they better? I thought with the cap room they'd get better, and I don't know if they're better. Coordinator's better.
But I guess you could argue that maybe the defense coordinator's worse. But
yes.
It's just tough because like if they kept Owe, are we like, oh, all right, they're ready, like they're there, you know, right. Like so that's my always my argument.
I am one guard, one of those like $10-12 million guards from feeling great.
Yeah,
and obviously they decided they didn't want it. The guy Arizona signed, like they just didn't want that.
And I get it because again, they did have the money to spend. I always go with like, just because you do have the money to spend in the NFL doesn't mean you should go and spend it. So like there's that aspect of it as well. So I don't know. It's one of those deals where I think they're still fine. They're elite tackles. Quarterback is good. They probably need another wide receiver, although they overperformed in that category too last year. So a little. So maybe there's some development there. Harbaugh develops guys. So like I don't think they're ever going to make that big, huge splash in free agency.
Yeah, no, but also the receivers are there for them to scoop up in free agency. There's like some guys that could probably get relatively cheap, I think, left over. No?
Yeah, but like it's not now it's guys that are you really gonna like bid for? You know, you're kind of hope they fall into your lap.
Yeah, like Joel Jennings, right? Like
yeah, like and again, it's a they run 2 tight ends a lot, and you know we'll see what happens with McDaniel, but how much that shifts. But yeah, I don't know. I they could have done more, but I don't think it's one of those things where I'm like hitting the panic.
Part of me also thinks that they just this is the glass. I'm going to leave on this.
Okay.
In that, like, they have this Ravens approach because it's like a front office that's pretty much come from the DeCosta, Newsom trained, you know, where they love those comp picks. I just think they don't want to put themselves they'd rather just always have this flexibility, and they just sort of see if we can build a consistent team, then we'll have a chance every year, where I sort of want them to like be super aggressive in a couple year window that can really maybe hurt them.
To your point you just brought up before I came on, last time they had all this cap space, they went super aggressive, and you have personal hatred towards those guys. So I think it's one of those things like,
and that was because that blew the Herbert rookie deal. Like they made the moves, taking advantage of the Herbert rookie deal, and everyone they onboarded other than Khalil Mack in that aggressive stage.
Hey, they got him back. That's a decent move.
Yeah, no,
he could have easily left. If he would have left, I would have been my tune on this conversation would have changed. So
okay. Well, I guess people are done with Chargers radio, but
I think so. But
Jeff, I think people just think free agency is the answers, and it's not.
I think Austin, you're right there. I think if I was the Chargers, I'd be a little bit more worried about. I'm not worried about their offense. I'm worried about their defense, losing Jesse Minter as well. But yeah. Anyways, Jeff, appreciate you.
All right. I
had to throw the jab in there on the way out, just because I could see the doom and gloom in his eyes. I'm like, I had to just pile on a little bit more. I'm just kidding. Hey, maybe they trade for Max Crosby, and it's like I look like the idiot here. Anyways, Austin, you're gonna be live today on Forward Progress, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. For people who want more football talking, go check that out. Forward Progress HQ, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That's live, by the way. They're live, like we are right now. But didn't bring you on to talk about football. I'm going to let you talk about the Jalen Waddle trade with George if you end up talking about that. Today I want to talk to you about the first 4 and the first 2 of the first 4. Howard versus UMBC, and I want to talk Howard versus Michigan. Biggest takeaway from the Howard versus UMBC game. I know there's 16 seeds. I know they don't really matter that much. Talk to me about your biggest takeaways. And then also, how does Howard match up against Michigan? Spread right now is at 31.5, which is, I know, pretty big. Talk me through that.
Yeah, so I try to, whenever I'm looking at March Madness, just because, again, there's not a lot of time to prep for these games. And that I think that's a pretty big thing. Definitely, if we get later into the second round, you only have a day to prep for your opponent. So I looked at the game last night between Howard and UMBC, and Howard is one of the best, from a raw metric standpoint, one of the best offensive rebounding team. They get to the free throw line as well, and they try to turn you over. And that, to me, speaks an athletic team, and that translates no matter how much prep you have and all that. And obviously this isn't like, hey, find those teams and you're gonna pick every game right in March, but that to me felt like a big advantage for them. And then when you look at adjusted metrics, UMBC did not rebound well, and we saw that last night. Howard got after the offensive rebound, they got to the free throw line a lot. That was pretty much why they were able to, they almost blew it. they were up like 10 points there late in the second half. But that was the key. That was what I looked at. I tweeted that out. That was kind of my keys to the game, and it kind of played out perfectly that way. Whether that works against Michigan, I doubt it, because Michigan has 7'2" Ademara. Axel Landenborg is 6'10", Morris Johnson 6'11". So they have that equal athleticism and everything. So that's where it gets a little bit tougher. Michigan has struggled since their point guard went down. Backup point guard went down. So when their starting point guard's not on the court. They are a little bit vulnerable on offense. Their defense is still amazing there. So I don't think Howard will be able to crash the offensive boards that they have. And this is where I think the opposite of that, the matchup is just not great because they are not going to be able to. UMBC let paint points happen. Michigan does not let that happen. So I don't see there's much of a path to even be frisky in this game against Michigan.
All right. Michigan, like I mentioned, minus 31.5 on the spread of the game. Quick question about like historically, like I don't know if you remember how big these 1 versus 16 spreads usually are. And I know obviously different teams, it shouldn't matter year over year because it's different competition every single time, but it feels like it's a little bit more adjusted up. Maybe I'm just talking this through my head. Are we going to see sort of less upsets and see more of these bigger spreads down the road because of, the top heavy nature of this tournament this year with NIL money and these top teams just basically kind of stealing players from these mid-major teams?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I just texted someone about this yesterday. I think there's going to be less upsets going forward than we think. We saw this in college football, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Boise States of the world 15 years ago were right there. And if they had those good teams, they could make noise. And I don't think like football's not there. I think basketball is following the same path. Mm-hmm. And there's not as much, like, even if you're throwing like guys that are 5 stars that didn't pan out in college basketball, they're going down. Like those guys aren't impacting the game at the college football level. I don't think they're going to impact it here. So I think that's going to kind of be the norm from now, is like seeing the 13 seeds are just, 2-3 points further away from those 3 and 4 seeds. The 5 and 12 seeds, you'll still get that because you're starting to get into the ratings that aren't that far apart. So maybe, even dip into some single digit spreads. But I do think that's probably something. I think that's probably a trend that stays with us for the foreseeable future under the current landscape of college athletics. Yeah, we need someone to like disrupt things like we saw like sort of Curt Cignetti do with like the different approach, we'll call it, to the transfer portal. Yep. UCLA kind of did that from what I understand. But anyways, we'll see how they end up in this tournament. Next game I want to talk about is the Texas game. Kind of a little sticky down the stretch there versus NC State. Talk me through that game and how they match up against BYU. Yeah, so the big issue with Texas, I don't love them as a team. They don't play great defense. I like my general thing. I brought up the Howard thing. I like to find teams that either have like repeatable traits, kind of match up, like not like excluding the matchup. It doesn't really matter who they play. This is the identity. Offensive rebounding and turnovers tend to be that. I don't like teams that are one-sided, and Texas is kind of that team for me in that their defense is not great, and it's not a team that I'm like, okay, hey, they're going to be able to put up a run and be able to go deep. Now, what that means for their game against BYU, they could easily beat BYU because BYU doesn't play great defense either. But I think that their level of offense is a little bit different. Best freshman in the country, going to be, I would say, like first overall pick, AJ DeMonte. But the draft class is so stacked. Cam Boozer's going to be there. Like there's like 4 guys that are realistically in the conversation for that. From a matchup standpoint, I don't think this game, like the 6-11 games are the best ones to watch because they're equal. I can see this game going either way. The 11 seeds from the first 4 are always the ones that kind of gravitate towards in like whether it's futures or like brackets, just because I think they're like underrated as they come through because the 6 seeds are never that good. So you're seeing BYU as a small favorite here. I think they can easily lose this game to Texas, even though Texas was first 4. I feel like is overcoined as like not deserving into the tournament. The issue that I have is Texas, they foul a lot. They get to the free throw line a lot. They foul a lot. They don't turn teams over. That's like you're just against a really good offense like BYU has. If you're sending them to the free throw line consistently and you're not turning them over, like it's just hard to, if you ever get down, it's hard to make up points because the other offense is going to be able to score. Yeah, no, all right. Makes perfect sense there. So Texas, BYU, maybe at slight edge towards BYU, even though it's a super close 2.5, but
It depends. Going to see what happens if Texas makes it a slog of a game again, like we saw last night. Prairie View, A&M, Lehigh is what I want to talk about for today. Dig a little bit more into the first four. Break down this game for us here. We've had people come on talk like Prairie View is underdogs. Matt Winnick came on, talked like in the under 143.5 in the game, since moved to 142.5. Anything you like in this game?
Yeah, I have a slight lean towards Prairie View, but this game, it's tough when it's like with the foul situation. It's always hard for me to like really have a super hard, like strong opinion on the side. With just, hey, if I make it I make this game closer to a coin flip, but hey, it could be a coin flip the whole way. Fouls work out and they lose by 5, and then I just I hate my life, and that's college basketball for you. But I actually lean the other way. I like the over a little bit. In this game, Prairie View, they get to the free throw line a lot. They foul their opponents a lot, so I think there's a lot of opportunities for both teams to get to the foul line. Prairie View plays at a pretty fast rate as well, and the other thing is I just don't see either team. It's painful because neither team gets after the offensive glass, so there's up and down. But I think that helps Prairie View from a pace standpoint, in that Lehigh's not going to be crashing the board, so they can get out and run quicker to keep that pace going. So that's kind of where my model is showing a little bit towards the over. I'll be on the over in this game just because there's when am I ever going to be tuning into a Prairie View Lehigh game at 6:40 Eastern? So I'll have some action on the over there. But that's really what it is. Like, these teams don't crash the offensive board. I think that kind of helps the pace get out. I know Lehigh is not good, but like Lehigh doesn't play super slow either, so that's helpful. It's not like a super drastic change in pace. But yeah, like the over, lean a little bit towards Prairie View as well.
All right, let's talk Miami, Ohio, and SMU. It seems like SMU's taken some money since we last talked about them yesterday and the day before as well, because I've seen it come down on SMU a little bit. I think it was around 215, now back out to plus 245 on the money line for Miami, Ohio. SMU right now minus 310. Spreads at 7.5, totals at 162.5, juice towards the under. This Miami, Ohio team just kind of been doing it all season long, proving the doubters wrong. Then it comes conference tournament time and they get squashed in the first game. But do you think they can prove the doubters wrong again here? Talk me through this game.
Unfortunately, no. SMU is like my biggest edge per my model in the first round. There's two issues though. SMU gives up a ton of threes. They just allow teams to shoot threes. Miami does shoot the three ball pretty well. So that's a concern, just the variance of that. If Miami gets hot, then obviously they can pretty much win any game. That's just how basketball goes. The other thing is this game is in Ohio, right? And I don't factor it in as a home court game or I don't give them partial home court. So there might be a little bit, even if I give full home court, I think there's still slight edge on SMU. That's how my edge, how big my edge is here. Miami, Ohio is 10-1 in close games this year. In a MAC conference is just not very good. And if they were the last team in the tournament. So you're going to tell me that if variance hit right for them, they would have been, 25-6 or 26-5, whatever they were. They're not making the tournament. We're not even talking about them. Right. So I just don't know. I think they're one of those teams that was deserving to get in because of going 31-1. I think we are right to reward those teams. Yeah. I just don't think they're a very good team. A lot of the public metrics out there have them as a top 75 offense. I have them outside the top 100. So I just might be off on them, but I think that SMU, again, 3-point variance is what I'm scared about. But yeah, I think SMU is going to be too much for them. And I like them on the spread. All right.
You like them on the spread. SMU 7.5 right now. Believe it's minus 110. Slight juice towards SMU, I believe. Nope, minus 110. All right, building brackets. You wrote an article for The Athletic talking how you sort of build your bracket. Obviously different depending on larger pools, smaller pools, medium-sized pools. Talk me through about the teams you identified as early bracket busters that people should just be sort of wary of in terms of picks, what you estimate pick percentage should be versus their actual win percentage.
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing with brackets. Everybody's just oh, just pick your winners, you'll be good. That's not it. Last year, hey, you pick all the 4 1 seeds, and it's going to depend on how well you picked earlier in the rounds. And I don't know if many people were hey, Ole Miss, I expect them to win, and that would have been your picked that probably won your pool because they were most unlikely to go far. So that's got to be you got to think about the psychology of it. So I like the large pools. Obviously, that means you have to kind of go a little bit more variance and pick your first round upsets. Teams that get to the Sweet 16 upsets usually in that size of pool. I like I think Louisville is that team for me. Like, it's not a first round upset, but to get the Sweet 16, even if you want to maybe even like Elite 8 run to go there. Again, I wrote in the article, SMU Miami of Ohio winner and the Texas NC State winner, I think can be runs just because I think they are underrated just by the pick percentages. Like, that's kind of the psychology of it. You got to update through what the pick percentages are now after these teams win and everything. I think Miami's a team that can make a run. So there's teams like longer odds that I'm trying to go for. Then I still think, though, you don't get crazy with your Final Four. I got, so I see a lot of people like, oh, I picked an 11 seed and a 9 seed to make the Final Four. I'm like, that happens once every 20 years. So I'm not saying you just go all ones. I think this year I think all the 2s are underrated. I think the 1s are actually overrated this year. I think people want to make them further, like Houston and Florida. I think if Houston would have won the Big 12 title, they might have been a 1 seed. Like, I think they're closer than we want to make. Michigan, like I said earlier, their backup point guard. I think they've come down a little bit. So I thought Duke got a tough draw. So I think these teams are a little bit, the 2 seeds are a little bit undervalued that way. So like Iowa State, like I said, because of Michigan. Purdue, I played well. It's tough because I don't love the fact that their defense lacks, but their offense is so good that it's hard to spring upsets when you play an offense that good. So I think Purdue is a favorable path. So those are the teams that I'm kind of like targeting. Like Iowa State, Purdue, and Houston might be my teams at Final Four and championship teams. And then the teams I said earlier are my let me try to find what's their path to the Sweet 16, Elite 8 in a larger pool. Smaller pool, chalk pretty much is going to put you in there. It's painful to say, I know, but you have a pool of 10 people. If you have a family pool, there's really no reason to go crazy with upsets. You're just going to, give yourself a better chance of losing at that rate. Yeah, no, for sure. Just looking at the chat right now, around 33% of the people are in a 50-plus pool. 24% of people are in a 2 to 15 pool. And then, of course, 19 people are 16 to 49, 19% of the people. So it seems like a lot of people are in these 50-plus pools. Also, a plus EV move of the week. If you know anyone in these blue blood, if you know who lives in a blue blood state. Oh yeah, that's the other aspect. If someone lives in Michigan, right. Fade Michigan go join those pools and just fade Michigan, and then hope that they get bounced early, and you have a really good shot. I have a family ties to the University of UConn, and we always do a women's pool, and it's everybody picks UConn, and I'm I'm never gonna pick them, and I don't win very often because they win so often. But it's one of those actually they just had a rut of not winning, and I'm like this year. UConn's on the women's side is huge favorite. This applies to the men. If you have Duke or if you're Arizona fans, whatever it is, I would not be picking UConn, but I guarantee you almost everybody else in my pool will be. And I automatically it basically just comes down to if UCLA wins the title in the women's side. So that's the strategy there. So that is a good point. I forgot to bring that up. If you have a bunch of Duke fans, do not pick Duke. I think someone talked about that on a Circles Off episode many years ago. Maybe it was Johnny. Someone just saying that they're grinding Twitter looking for public pools, taking the inherent risk of them not getting paid out, but just finding fans and fans of universities and colleges and trying to join them and fade the team. Yeah, I saw a recruiting college football recruiting site doing a pool, and I think it was Michigan, and I'm like, that pool has got to be 50-70% Michigan picks. Just go in there and try to win some free money, and just pick Duke. How nice is that? You can get value on Duke, the tournament favorite, which is crazy. That never happens. Yeah, which is crazy to think about there. A couple questions in the chat before I let you go here. You mentioned in Purdue, so I'm going to skip over that one. Any opinion on somebody asked all 2 seeds from Derek? All 2 seeds to make the Sweet 16 at plus 230. You said you like the 2 seeds. So I don't have that. I don't have that priced out, but I can tell you to make the Sweet 16, I have a small edge on Houston. I have a decent size edge on Purdue, small edge on Iowa State, and an edge on UConn. So I'm going to say yes, I would agree with that price. UConn struggled down the stretch. They struggled to beat St. John's, but like Hurley's a great coach. Again, X's and O's, like you have to be, I think those coaches that have shown tournament success, like they know how to prep for it. I think he's one of those guys. And again, I think that the twos are closer to the ones, or at least the ones are pulling some of the value out of them. Shouldn't matter for Sweet 16 pricing, but yeah, I do think that I don't have that exactly priced, but I would imagine that I agree that all 2 seeds to make the Sweet 16. I think it's like 8 out of 9. 8 out of the last 9, a 2 seed hasn't made the Sweet 16. So yeah, fade that trend. I think there's value on the 2 seeds.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate all the info there. What's your favorite bet you've placed on March Madness so far? Could be a futures, could be a team side, total, spread, prop. Anything anything that you're just sticking out in your mind of like,
honestly, like that 2 seed one kind of interests me now. I haven't gone into like the exotics yet. I've just been like looking at the regular future markets. I kind of like the Iowa and Miami. If I'm gonna pick like long, I have them like some longer odds. They're probably my favorites. Just like it's boring. I'm like, oh yeah, I like Louisville. Like that's like a blue blood. Like I try to get and like it's core to pick the 8, 9, 7, 10s because they have to face a 2 or 1 in the next round. So Miami and Iowa are my 2 favorites. So that probably means they're going 0-2 the next 2 days. So, but yeah, just those 2 are just like because that's what the fun ones are to root for. Like I remember I had when Loyola Chicago upset Illinois in the second round because they were crazy underseeded. Like they were like a top. I think honestly that's what changed the seeding process because they were like a top 12 team and they got like a 9 seed. Illinois got screwed so hard. But I remember I had them the Sweet 16 and Final Four. They ended up losing in the Sweet 16, I think. But I remember rooting for that upset over Illinois. Like it's so great if you got like a future on an 8 or a 9 or a 7 or 10, and they try to take down a big dog. So I can't go for the 7 and 10 because I just said I like the 2 seed pick. So I'll go with Iowa. As my favorite.
All right, Iowa, it is as your favorite. Appreciate you joining the show, Austin. Remind you can catch Austin live, 4 p.m. Eastern time on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. Not right after this, but in a couple hours, 4 p.m. Austin, appreciate you joining the show. We'll chat soon.
Yep, thanks for having me, Jason. I appreciate it.
Awesome stuff there, as always, from Austin. Great stuff. Also, if you want to dig into some like fun novelty stuff there, shout out to Ian McMillan. Got a great bet in on, I believe it was category of mascot of NCAA basketball championship winner for the men's. He got weather and nature at like 60-1. Now priced at 11-1. So good for him. Go digging in there. There's probably some stuff you can find for the women's championship winner as well. Anyways, appreciate you guys joining the show. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Do us a favor, smash the like button. Goes a long way here on the channel. If you're new to the channel as well, hit that subscribe button. If you're hungry for some more college content, but you don't want to talk basketball, we got Hit the Books live today, 5 p.m. Eastern, right after Forward Progress. The one buffoon and Brad Powers are going to be talking about college football and how they're going to be betting some futures. We're so back. Getting back into the swing of things for college football. You can check that out on the Hit the Books YouTube channel. And, of course, the Forward Progress live show as well, 4 p.m. Eastern time. If you're listening on audio forms, before you head out, do us a favor. Review us 5 stars. Goes a long way here on the channel. Shout out to Austin for joining the show. Shout out to Geoff. Shout out to Mr. Peanut Bettor and shout out to Mike behind the boards. And shout out to you for tuning in and watching the show every single day. Appreciate you guys. Anyways, that wraps up for you today. This has been the March 18th edition of the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. We will see you guys right here tomorrow.